Victoria Harbour. A mega cross-sea project, with total investment reaching tens of billions of dollars. Above the water, a massive cargo ship glides by. Deep below, an express train speeds through the dark. A female passenger calmly scrolls through her phone. She has no idea she is sandwiched between tens of thousands of tons of steel and the deep seabed. On shore, the crane operator cannot even imagine. A submerged tunnel lies just 3 meters beneath the base of his machine.
Today, join me to explore this extraordinary mega project's construction. Don't forget to subscribe to follow the journey.
Hidden beneath the waves are 11 precast concrete tunnel segments. Each weighs over 23,000 tons, more than twice the weight of the Eiffel Tower. Inside, thousands of commuters travel every minute. The line between safety and catastrophic flooding is razor thin, just a concrete shell under 30 meters of seawater. Only a few hundred meters from a signpost, 500,000 residents in eastern Hong Kong face gridlock every morning. Traffic here has been paralyzed for over 40 years. Beneath this urban landscape lies a dense labyrinth, where every pipe, cable, and utility trench is already claimed. Yet, the new rail line had to plunge deep underground. Why not extend to the east?
Because the sea here spans 1.4 kilometers, and the seabed is already crammed with 5 existing tunnels.
The sixth project had no choice but to squeeze through a narrow 90-meter gap, like threading a needle. The geology is a complex, multi-layered cake, where every rock layer reacts completely differently under the drill bit. The construction strategy was finalized. Cast each tunnel segment on land, convert them into concrete barges, and submerge them to the seabed amidst active shipping lanes at night. Bizarrely, a subsea project began with a quarry blast on land. The strategic drill bit had to thread through 5 old tunnels, withstand 30 meters of water pressure, and consume 10 full years of engineering work. How do you build a sea-crossing tunnel on dry land? They converted an abandoned quarry into a casting yard and used seawater to float the massive segments. Only a single cofferdam separated the ocean from the 11 tunnel elements. Once the concrete was poured, the retaining wall was demolished. Every section consumed tens of thousands of tons of steel. The rebar grid was so dense that workers had to squeeze through inch by inch. The biggest flaw? The initial casting floor deviated by up to 340 millimeters. Proceeding like this meant the segments could never be joined. Engineers had to inject high-pressure grout to fill the depressions, bringing flatness within a 5-millimeter tolerance over 160 meters. Perfect precision. Only then did the massive concrete pour begin. High-strength C45 concrete was pumped continuously for 36 hours, with thermal sensors embedded deep within the mix. A single thermal crack would render the entire segment useless. Touch this load-bearing anchor plate. 30 meters of water pressure is about to bear down upon it. These pre-stressing tendons support the entire roof load. A single tear in the waterproofing membrane, and the ocean will submerge everything within minutes. Every millimeter of surface was rigorously inspected. The breakwater dam was breached. Seawater surged in, and the 23,000-ton concrete mass lifted off the floor. It floated. After 30 months, 11 box segments were completed. The quarry stood empty. It was time to move to the open sea. A GPS tower was erected atop the tunnel roof, enabling engineers to coordinate this 23,000-ton structure with centimeter precision in the dark. Night fell. 23,000 tons of concrete drifted freely on the water. 5 tugboats roared to life in readiness. Victoria Harbour lay directly ahead. A narrow 200-meter navigation channel, for a tunnel 18 meters wide. This was the most nerve-wracking curve, navigating a 23,000-ton structure through a busy shipping lane in the dead of night. The container ship alongside was unaware that a 30-meter deep trench was being dredged directly under its hull. The seabed trench required level accuracy within 100 millimeters. Even a tiny offset would permanently tilt the massive block. The gravel bed below was smoothed using underwater lasers, achieving a margin of error of just 20 millimeters for the entire load above. Marine police sealed off 200 meters of the channel. Each segment demanded 48 hours of grueling operation. Ballast tanks slowly drained water, and the 30-meter descent began. The Gina rubber gasket compressed tightly between the two tunnel units, creating an absolute watertight seal under immense pressure. Suddenly, disaster struck. A cargo ship's anchor dragged along the seabed, plowing up the foundation stone and causing a 180-millimeter discrepancy. Segment number 4 had to halt immersion immediately. An emergency stop order was issued. The tunnel block hung suspended at a depth of 15 meters. Machinery regraded the seabed, reconfirming the 20-millimeter benchmark. Safety metrics were restored. The immersion process resumed. The segment touched down. Pumps evacuated all water trapped between the sections. The tremendous force of seawater locked the segments into a single, solid structure. A second gasket layer was reinforced from within, 2 sealing layers standing between passengers and the ocean. The final section settled into place. The sea-crossing journey was complete.
Holding 23,000 tons of concrete 15 meters underwater for 4 days was immensely challenging.
Above ground, trams shake the streets. Deep below, TBM shield machines churn through the earth. Neither is aware of the other. 7 tunnel boring machines operated simultaneously across 4 lines. Geology shifted constantly. No 2 tunnels were identical. High-pressure slurry stabilized the cutter head, allowing the machine to advance as if inside a protective bubble. Just 3 meters from the water's edge, 400 foundation piles of ancient buildings thrust directly into the alignment. Either bore straight through, or the project fails. There was no third option. Precast concrete tunnel rings had to be installed as the machine advanced. Without this lining, all the soil and rock above would collapse. A TBM jammed at a depth of 400 meters. An unmapped concrete foundation had shattered the cutter head. Sensors confirmed the obstruction. Engineers were forced to inject reinforcing grout from the street level above. After 8 days of continuous rescue work, the drill bit roared back to life. Explosives detonated within Hong Kong's granite bedrock. The charges were calculated down to the milligram to protect buildings a mere 10 meters away. 200 vibration sensors were mounted on nearby structures. If a single reading breached the limit, all work stopped immediately. No exceptions. A 300-meter excavation pit sat wedged between 50-year-old residential blocks, with concrete diaphragm walls bearing full pressure to prevent collapse. Suddenly, workers struck 900-year-old Song Dynasty relics.
11 months of construction were frozen. The delay cost an additional $20 billion.
Station designs had to be altered to preserve the ancient well. Timelines were thrown into chaos once more. The column foundation system was shifted laterally by 3 meters. Modern engineering forced to step back before heritage. Soil beneath the exhibition center continued to deform. Deep soil mixing was deployed for reinforcement. 3 surrounding buildings showed signs of excessive settlement, forcing crews to work through the night to stabilize them. Just 6 meters above the TBM crown lay busy Harcourt Road. The drill bit was squeezing through a deadly gap. Geology had been mastered, but human error was about to trigger a disaster. An inspector discovered uncoupled rebar joints inside the station wall. He uncovered 1,900 similar violations. The new station levels were being constructed directly underneath the old ones. A 30-meter deep concrete wall served as the permanent load-bearing frame, with steel rebar joints forming life-or-death connections. Yet someone had deliberately bypassed them. Shortened rebar, unthreaded into couplers, was simply dropped into fresh concrete. The wall supporting live train loads was missing 8.9% of its structural connections, extremely dangerous. All station operations were frozen, and the entire wall structure underwent special inspection. How do you fix steel inside hardened concrete? An expensive solution was proposed. Construct an entirely new steel framework to carry the load, bypassing the defective wall. Trains above would now transfer weight directly through this steel beam system. 650,000 tons of rock were manually cleared to install the emergency frame, right beneath an operating station. The last train departed at 12:15 a.m. Before 5 a.m., all obstructing debris had to be cleared. 5,000 tons of steel were manually welded underground. No cranes, no light, only suffocating heat and stifling air. The new steel frame took over the full burden. The safety board signed off, and work resumed. But 4 full years had been lost. The challenge beneath Admiralty Station was even more brutal. Directly beneath 10,000 passengers per hour, workers were chipping away at solid rock, completely unaware of the crowd above. The 40-year-old island line ran trains every 3 minutes, with crews tunneling right underneath it. Settlement reached 22 millimeters, 2 millimeters over the limit. The existing tunnel lining was shifting. As the last train passed, everything ground to a halt.
Look up. You can hear trains running right above your head and see rock dust falling down.
22 millimeters of deformation. Jack it up. No cranes, no space. Workers torqued every bolt by hand directly beneath the tracks, an absolute danger zone. Steel props were erected in 40 minutes. Engineers recalculated parameters through the night. Settlement stabilized at 23 millimeters. 650,000 tons of granite were hauled out by night. By day, passengers commuted as usual. The station expanded deep into the earth, casting new slabs below while crowds walked on the floors above. 5,000 tons of steel were lowered through a narrow vertical shaft. No heavy cranes, no sunlight. The immersed seabed tunnel flexes by 30 millimeters with the tides, while the rock cut section remains entirely rigid. The joint between them had to be flexible. Standard Gina gaskets could not withstand 30 millimeters of movement under 3-bar pressure for a century. A specialized mega gasket was developed, capable of enduring 2.5 times normal pressure, setting a new technical standard. Plunged 25 meters into subsiding reclaimed land, the concrete wall served as the sole anchor. 4 rail lines, 4 spatial levels, 40 meters deep. The lowest tier sat beneath a 40-year-old tunnel, while the upper 3 levels were designed never to touch the old line. Just 6 meters below Harcourt Road, the TBM swept past. Sensors logged 8 millimeters of settlement, well within safe limits. Unprecedented. 3 active train lines operating directly above a deep excavation pit. The concrete frame and steel shell were finished, but the brain inside was not yet powered on. Not a single device had electricity. The tunnel block rested on the seabed for a full year before track laying finally began. Automated signaling systems would govern everything. A single minor error, and no train would be allowed to run. After 8 months of fine-tuning, the system revealed a major flaw. Platform screen doors failed to synchronize with arriving trains. 27.5 kilovolt current was energized into the system for 72 hours. 5,000 meters of tunnel lit up with power to trace the fault. For 12 consecutive months, empty test trains ran daily to stress test the system. Every flaw had to be caught before welcoming passengers. 23 groundwater sensors were embedded in the seabed. Should readings spike, dive teams would mobilize within 24 hours. A train just hurtled past at 90 kilometers per hour directly overhead. Thanks to vibration dampers, oscillations were virtually eliminated. Without them, the floor slab would bounce by 4 millimeters. Sensors 7 and 8 are creeping up by 0.4 millimeters a day, against a 0.5 limit. The ocean is testing these joints. The gasket layer remains intact, yet sensor 7 quietly creeps up by 0.4 millimeters each day, its cause still unknown. The final 347 technical items passed inspection, and inspectors officially signed off. Engineers study weather forecast models for the next 6 weeks, analyzing 2.3 million simulated tsunami pressure scenarios as they silently watch their screens. At this very moment, directly above the tunnel roof, a massive container ship cuts through the waves. The thrust from its propellers compresses the Gina gasket deep beneath the ocean floor.